Hi, everyone. Today I'm going to talk to you about the need to have an open mind as you make any decision in life. You see, we all concentrate quite a lot on how our bodies look, which is okay because our bodies can be our armor as we present ourselves to the world. But at the end of the day, as many psychologists say, and it is true, that your body is just, or neuroscientists say, your body is just a vehicle to carry your mind. It's important for you to always be aware of your mind health as you look after your body. Over the last couple of weeks, I've been quite busy providing clients with advice. And this has meant that I've been traveling around the country listening to lots of conversations. And if you're from overseas, you may or may not know that New Zealand is going to have its annual elections. And a lot of people here talk about elections a lot of the time. And this elections, there's been quite diversity in thinking, which I think is fabulous because that's the beauty of a free world. We can all comfortably, without fear, express our point of view. Now, my personal boundaries with this free speech debate is that no free speech should incite, encourage, or support violence, terror, or separatism that can lead to violence or terror. Beyond that, people should be able to express their point of view. And it's up to us, the rest of us, to use our minds, our mind strength, to choose and decide whether the strategies put forth by the person you're talking to, the politician, the policymaker, whomever you're listening to, make sense and have the courage to speak with our votes, have the courage to speak with our wallets if it's a business coming up with a point of view. But regardless of that, it is important for us to use our minds. You might say, well, how do I use my mind? I hear all these amazing things on the internet that talk such and such about this person, or that politics, or this politics, whoever they are. I'm not going to name parties. How can you make an informed decision and use your mind? What does using your mind actually mean? It really means that you step back, be honest with yourself, that deep down feeling in your heart on what you want. So this is how I do it. I look at what is it that Jessica wants in this. Let's use politics as an example. For myself, I write it down in a piece of paper. As you all know, I'm a fan of writing things down. And then I think about, well, in terms of politics, I think about, this is what I want. Is this going to be good for the country? Not just today. And I also put photos of my children, but for tomorrow, my kids and all their friends and the future citizens of this country. And what is my desired place for the future? Imagine it in your head. Draw a picture, paint a painting, stick photographs, do a collage on how does the future, in your mind, if you were the creator, what is the ideal world that you want your children to live in? Then think about, if this is the ideal world I want my children to live in, is this going to be achievable in a peaceful manner through negotiations, through talk, communications? Or this ideal world that I'm picturing in my mind, will that cause friction, wars, um, discomfort, civil wars? Will the land and the people in the land be affected by it? Whatever it is. I'm just going to give you a random example. I don't believe in this, by the way. Now, if I believed that I want my children to be the supreme leaders of the land at no matter what cost. I don't believe in it, by the way. I'm just saying it as an example. If I want that, and that in this ideal world, imaginary crazy world, that in my mind I think it's crazy, but if I think that, are they going to be sitting there bossing around your children and your grandchildren and their children and their grandchildren, and at whatever cost it may be, the desired futures that they can eat and drink and build castles as much as they want, and I will do whatever I want to make that happen. And then I need to think about, is this going to be achievable in a peaceful manner? You're not going to like that. You'll probably come back and say, "Oh, you to have that dream. In my ideal world, my children need to be free." You might be a more sensible person than me, and you might think, "No, I want my children to live freely. I'm happy for your children to live freely. I want mine to live freely too, to bring out the best version of whoever they can be." Do you see what I mean? So picture it in your mind. Stand back to become an artist. Write a song if you want to. What do you like? What is your ideal picture for yourself and the future? And will this ideal desired future for yourself be achievable in a peaceful manner? By peaceful, I don't again mean just agreeing with everybody, because I mean, there's somehow, somewhere along the line, we think, and I fell into this trap. I used to think no matter what anyone said to me, I should just put up with it and nod my head and therein create peace. That's just fallacy. That's not going to bring out the best in you. It didn't bring out the best in me. One day I stood up and had the courage to say, you know what, this is me. After all is said and done, in the final analysis, as long as I know I've done my best to bring out the best in myself and others around me and left this world a better place than it was, then I've done my duty. So for yourself, think to yourself, how do you achieve the future? Now, for example, when I say peace, sometimes it may mean having the hard discussions. Mahatma Gandhi, a great hero of mine, he didn't just nod his head at his opponents. He had the courage to stand firm for what he believed in, but he did it in a peaceful manner. And even still, we realize that people that came after him, there was frictions and things that happened around him. India didn't necessarily always achieve the peace that Mahatma Gandhi perceived in his head that he could achieve. So, I mean, how can we learn from him and even make it better today? How can we as a country have our desired futures and also think about other people's desired futures, and how can we balance the two so we can create a desired future? That is how I decide. At the end of the day, it's up to you how you decide who you vote for. But in terms of your mindset, it's good to train your mind to think about yourself, think about your loved ones, think about others, and how can you achieve your goal? What it maybe politics, maybe in your work, maybe in your school, whatever you're doing. How can I achieve my goals in a way that I am most constructive, in the most peaceful manner possible? Bearing in mind, peace does not equate nodding your head to everybody, and achieving your goal also does not equate pushing everybody down in the process. The So that's topic one in my world. That's what's been discussed over the last couple of weeks. And the other topic that really shocked me, to be honest, that's been a matter of discussion over the past few days, is the attack by the terrorists on Israel's soil, killing innocent civilians and babies. I was quite shocked. I mean, sometimes I venture into the social media world against my time management practices to make some comments on social media, just to one, to educate people on the knowledge that I have, and second, to ascertain and understand why people sometimes have extreme perspectives. I was really shocked to see people saying, "Oh, well, people died in Israel, but such and such person died." But that's not the point. When something happens today, I mean, two wrongs doesn't make a right. What happened this week, and we talk about in the news what happens in the moment, is absolutely in no excuses. It was absolutely wrong, done by terrorist groups that didn't do any favors for Israel, and neither did they do any favors, in my perspective, to the peaceful Palestinian people who do, at the end of the day, need a two-state solution. And I always say to people, I put my hand up to figure out how this can work. But I feel the challenge there is mindsets need to change, both in Israel and in Palestine, to make this happen. And that's a long journey and it's a different story. But the story today is that what happened in Israel was absolutely wrong. And only I don't understand how anybody that's got any love in their heart can sit down and write and make comments such as, oh, well, they had it coming. We must oppose any kind of terror. Now, someone wrote to me privately. I get hate mails and said, "Oh, you are pro-Israel. I didn't realize it. I'm pro nobody. I am pro peace. I am pro um, people being able to live with dignity. I am pro people being able to get on with their lives without having to fear that they're going to be shot down by some cruel terrorist. What I am anti is people promoting disinformation and hatred against a race. I am against people just inventing histories that are just make believe. So I mean, these are two discussions, and I have normally I don't venture into strong debates because I don't believe. I used to do this. I don't believe anymore that when once people have made up their mind, they're not going to change their minds. But some issues, you know what? It's worth putting it out there so people have the chance to change their minds and move away from hatred and into love. So whatever the situation is, you might, for example, in this Palestinian Israeli should think, oh, Israel's all wrong, for example. You might think that. And that's okay, that's your view. Then have a educated, research-based backup to your perspective. You could say, I don't like all of what Israel's done, A, B, C, D, E. But however, if you are just making from an educated point of view, you would not, there is no educated guess that supports terror. Then you'll know in your heart that you can't acknowledge what's happened this week. And you can't, in a peaceful mindset, accept it. So if you want to have a clear mind, set yourself back from your biases and come up with a resolution in your mind on what your perspective is, not based on disinformation that everybody's spreading, not based on the popular narratives, but based on the truth. In history, there's no my truth, your truth. History is history. It's bad, it's good, it's in between, it's nothing. But history is history. We can only learn from them. As I said to you about Mahatma Gandhi, I've learned a lot about him. Thought he had a great vision, and I don't believe others implemented that. So you learn from that and then see how can we do it better. We've all learned that separatism doesn't necessarily work in a country that's running well. So how can we unite despite our differences and forge a path forward for all of us where we can all live in peace? All that starts with your mind, with you making a decision that I'm going to declutter my mind and focus on what is real, what is kind, what is true, what is productive, what is constructive, and create a vision and a future for myself and those around me. And the two examples I've given to you today about the New Zealand elections and the terrorist attack on Israel are just two examples in your lives. Think about it. Somebody even me, I'm telling you something. Don't just listen to it just because I said it. Go and do your own research. Come back. I'm happy for you to look. I'm a scientist. I'm a social scientist, but I'm a reasonably good one. And if you come up with me to me with an alternate perspective that makes sense, I'll listen. Because the beauty of science and scientists is that we always, the beauty is that you can change your mind based on evidence. show to me why your perspective is true, and don't attack people, whoever they may be, whether in politics or you know, nation states or personal debates. Don't attack people. If somebody's done something to you don't like, attack their actions and say, look, I didn't like that. That was not respectful. But don't attack the person. And it's easy for me to sit here and talk to you, but all this, you see, changes in the mind. Those things. We all, you know, someone I be constant. A lot of my friends contacts medical doctors, you know, and that's great. We go to a medical doctor, and we should, when our bodies are sick, and that is important to make your bodies well. But we don't know how much time do we spend, and we go to our accountants because we want more money, and that's important too. How much time do we spend on our mind? You know, a lot of clarity and thinking can come from reshaping the most important place that we own, which is our mindset. So, can I encourage you today to take a moment out of your day, busy day, to think about your mindset? Do you need to redesign your mindset? And what would that new mindset look like? Think on those things. Until next time, this is Dr. Jessica from a land far, far away, all the way in New Zealand, wishing you the very best of luck. Keep sparkling and do your best to cleanse your mind.